Hey, you guys, it's Amy, and I'm here coming live to you on Facebook, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm doing my very first Monday Moxie, and I've been going back and forth on that because I've been thinking Moxie Monday sounds a little bit more fun. I don't know, maybe it's just because it sounds like Foxy. Um, so I want you guys to just go ahead and put it down in the comments. Like, do you like Moxie Monday or do you like Monday Moxie? I'll tell you a little bit more about where Moxie came from as we get into the into the live. Um, I'm really excited that you're here with me today. And for all of you that are on replay, I hope that you will do a hashtag replay down below and let me know what you're enjoying and what's helpful. I just wanted to come to you today and give you a little bit of feedback on what I've been discovering about what's working in my own studio as I have moved online. And also as I've talked to several teachers about their own concerns about going online and how to make lessons really fantastic for their clients. I think ultimately, when we talk about what is a great lesson, I think that what we have to remember is showing up and being present is really what makes a great lesson. Because if you're all up in your head and you're worried about technology and you're worried about, oh my gosh, is my lighting okay? Oh my gosh, the screen is freezing. Oh my gosh, I can't hear every single detail. I can't play with my student at the same time. If you're up in your head, then you're not really present and providing what you really want to give to your student, which is your time, your attention, and your expertise. And as long as you are showing up and you're present to give those things, then all of those techie little glitches are just static. They're just little moments. And being distracted by them will keep you from really paying attention to what's happening with your student. And students, this is for you too. You know, if you're worried about, oh my gosh, is my hair okay? Oh my gosh, my cat just walked by. Are my parents listening? If you're worried about all the other stuff around you, then you're not being present. You're not really focusing on what's important. And what that is what's your body doing? What's your voice doing? What is your whole system doing in order to help you make your best sound? So all of those other glitchy things, I know it's really easy to get stuck on all the other stuff, on all the static that's around us. But really, all we have to do is just be present. So that's my first tip for you, is if you really want to show up and you really want to make the most out of your lesson, whether you're a teacher or you're a student, be present. Be responsive. Be aware of what's happening. I think the other thing that that we sometimes get focused on is are we afraid of making mistakes because somebody might be listening? You know, when you come to the studio and you're one-on-one, there's a little bit of a safety net that a teacher provides. We provide that by having piano. We provide that by being a cheerleader. And we can still provide that. But it's also really important to realize that what we can also do is provide a safe space, even if we're online, even if the student is coming to you from their bedroom or from their piano, and somebody else is around in the house. it's still a safe place to make mistakes and to learn and to grow. Because that's the whole point of taking lessons, right? I always say to my students, if you're here because you already know everything, well, then you're probably in the wrong place. Like, I don't know everything. I still take voice lessons. There's always more to learn. There's always space for growth. And if you're afraid to make a mistake, then you're never going to really, truly learn what more there is out there that you could be doing. And so make mistakes. Make bold mistakes, right? And that goes for teachers too. Make bold mistakes. It's okay. We're all doing something new. And in many ways, by making a mistake as a teacher, you're giving the student permission to make mistakes too. And so now you have this wonderful collaborative experience where you can really have each other's back. And what could be better than that? You know, I've been thinking a lot about just kind of why people are so afraid of being online. And it really comes back to this idea of coaching versus collaboration. When I think of my in-person studio lessons, I think of how we get to really collaborate. I'm playing the piano with them. I'm singing with them. We're having a blast together. And we're really collaborating to create music and discover what's possible. And it's awesome. And then when you're on this online format, somehow, all of a sudden, you feel even more like you're vulnerable. They're going to notice every mistake that you make. And we're going to get really frustrated because there's lag time and we can't really make music together. And that's kind of a reality of the online format. And that's okay. Because ultimately, collaboration is wonderful, but that's not really your job. As a voice teacher, my job is to coach my students to be self-sufficient. I want to collaborate with them. I love collaborating with them. I love collaborating with my choir. I really miss my choir mates, right? Anybody else missing their choir mates? Put it down below. I miss them. Hey, Curtis, how are ya? Thank you. Thanks for being here. So yeah, the idea that we're here to hold our students' hand and collaborate with them, yeah, that's great. At first, especially with really young students, they kind of need that, right? But ultimately, what we're really being paid to do is to teach students how to get out on that stage and be self-sufficient. And you're not going to do that by teaching them that they need you in their back pocket. Because unfortunately, I don't know about you, but I can't always be at every single performance. And I definitely can't be backstage. And I definitely cannot be warming them up before every single performance that every one of my students is going to do. So that leads us to this online format. And the possibilities that we have to cut the cord, right? Cut that umbilical cord. Let them be self-sufficient. Let them show you all the things that they can do, and they don't really need your help. I know that seems scary, right? Like, oh my gosh, they don't need my help? What is she talking about? Of course they need my help. Well, they do need your help. They need your help in learning how to be vulnerable on stage. And you know how they learn that? By being vulnerable in the studio. or in this case, being vulnerable in your virtual studio, being vulnerable at home with their parents in the other room, or their older or younger siblings in the other room who are making snarky comments, right? They have to be vulnerable because that is what they take onto the stage. Vulnerability. And if they are so freaked out that they cannot find the courage to get out on that stage and be vulnerable, then guess what? We're not serving them. We're not doing our jobs. So that biggest point is that I think sometimes we want to collaborate with them because it's a part of our joy of being able to work with them and being able to collaborate them, and yes, being able to help them achieve those aha moments, right? But ultimately, what we really need to be doing, and I don't know about you, but I'm finding that I have been holding way too many hands in my studio. My kids are not, they're just not yet self-sufficient. But this is going to help them be more self-sufficient. And it's going to help me be a better teacher and serve them on a much longer trajectory than just trying to fix a soft palate, get them to sing at the exact same pace that I want them to sing at. This gives them the opportunity to discover their own artistry, to discover that they can sing a cappella and stay in tune. And if they can't, this is an opportunity for them to learn to trust themselves so that down the road, they're going to be more in tune with that piano, with that orchestra, with that choir. These are the moments where we get to step up as teachers and as students to up our game. We get to realize that, yes, we're still here. I'm still your best cheerleader. I will always cheer on my students, right? But you don't need me to cheer you on in order for you to be great. And teachers, as much as you want to collaborate and be a part of that music, just think how much more you will observe when you stop worrying about whether or not you hit every single note on that piano correctly, and you're just watching your student. You're observing your student. You get to see their character. You get to see what weird technical things they might be doing. And you get to see whether or not they have the courage to be vulnerable, both with you, with the people they love, and ultimately with a whole bunch of strangers. So my last little piece here, some final tips for everybody who's going through this. Again, both teachers and students, because we're all in it together, supporting each other, bringing our best efforts to grow. And these final tips are: slow down and observe more. That's especially true for the students. Please, when your brain is racing, and especially if you've had trouble getting your computer to connect and there's all the noise and there's all this stuff going around in your house, slow down. Come back to you. Be present in what you're doing with your body so that you can observe how your body responds. You can observe what's working and what's not working. And you can observe and you can share that with your teacher. You can observe if you're feeling tension, and you can observe, where is that tension? And you can observe, are your knees locked? Are you locked in your breath? You can observe if your breath is shallow. You have the capability to do all of those things. And then the collaboration really begins, because now, as a team, as a teaching team, the teacher, the coach, and the student can get together and experiment and try out something different, right? And see what occurs. That's where the coaching comes in. When we all slow down and we're all making observations, then we get to tip number 2. Give space for learning, discovering something new. Oh my gosh, I've never felt this before. Hi, Andrew from the Philippines. Thanks for joining. Discovering something new. Wow, who would have thought? In your very own house, in your very own space, you might discover something new about what's working and what's not working. And then you get to figure out a new way, or maybe you get to continue playing with what's working, right? And how much fun is that? So now we are finding that joy in creating something in the moment, on the spot. For teachers, here's another really awesome tip. So often we have lesson plans. We have goals, especially like oftentimes I used to have some thing that I was going to teach every one of my students all week long. Okay, this week's lesson topic is, maybe it would be more effective, especially right now, in this time where people are stressed out, they're feeling like they can't do what they really want to do. This is a space to do something that we really want to do. Because if you're in voice lessons and you don't really want to be singing, then we probably have a problem, right? So if you are here and you want to be singing and you want to discover something new, maybe it would work as a teacher to ask the students, what are you curious about doing? Like, what's piqued your curiosity in your practicing that kind of like maybe something weird happened? And maybe you want to just find out, was that good? Was it bad? I don't know. We have to discover it. We have to be curious about it. We have to play with it. This would be a wonderful opportunity to give your student the opportunity to say, oh, yeah, I really want to play with fill in the blank. And students, that means bringing awareness to your practice sessions, right? What is happening in your practice sessions? What is weird? What is new? And maybe that weird and new isn't bad. Maybe you've discovered something that could be like, it could change your entire technique. It could change your entire sound. It could, in fact, be discovering your sound. Who knows? Oftentimes when something new comes up, we're so freaked out by it that we avoid it at all cost. That's not the way I always do it. Oh my gosh, run away. But what if you've just discovered the thing that we've been working on or you've been working on with your teacher, except it just never really made sense. And suddenly something weird happens. And it's awesome. Could be something really cool to discover. So tip number 3 here for your final tips. Hi, Kara. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining live. So tip number 3 here at the very end. Trust as teachers. Trust that what you are offering goes so much deeper than technique. It's not just about technique. Yeah, technique is important. But again, you're teaching them to be vulnerable. You're teaching them to trust themselves. You're teaching them to get up on that stage and share their gifts. And that's what is really awesome. I had a really young student that was studying with me for just a few months. And she came in and she kept apologizing for doing something wrong. And I kept saying, why are you apologizing? I don't get it. What's wrong? Well, it's just not good. Well, why would you say that? What makes you think that it's not good? How would you know what's good and what's not good? You've never taken lessons before. How would you know what's good and what's not good? The reality is that we have some idea in our head of what is good, and somehow we can never live up to it. And when that happens, we spend our entire lesson apologizing and shaming ourselves and feeling less than. And it's not productive, right? So what if all of us, teachers and students combined, trust that what we have to offer is that connection, that growth potential, and that together we're better, and that I can help to foster and nurture my students' growth, and then let them go and give it to the world, all on their own, because they don't need me there. They are self-sufficient. Two more things. So this next one, it's really like paying homage to Brené Brown because, hey, I love Brené Brown. Gifts of imperfection right here. I'm all about the imperfection. And you know what? We have to embrace our imperfections. Our imperfections, our students have to embrace their imperfections. And guess what? We definitely need to be embracing the imperfection of technology because it's great when it works. And there's a lot of times when it doesn't. And that's okay because we can rise above that. You know, imperfections are what create every unique thing about an individual's voice. If it was perfect, it might as well have been created by a computer. And who loves that? Not me. Every voice is unique, And guess what? Every lesson is unique. So as teachers, rather than trying to have that perfect lesson, sometimes we gotta just go through the mud and struggle and show our students that we can do that with grace and that we can embrace the fact that it kind of sucks, but that's okay because we're all growing together and we're finding our unique gifts in these unique moments. And the last thing, I might have already said this, but it's the last thing on my sheet. So I'm going back to my sheet and we're going to use that. So we talked about collaboration versus coaching. And I just mentioned the word connection. Connection is why we make music. What makes the most amazing artists are the ones who let you, the audience member, connect to their vulnerability when they dig deep and go to that really vulnerable space and allow themselves to share that with you, the audience. And as teachers, we have to go to that place too, to connect to our students, to help bring out the best in them. We have to connect to them. And students, you have to be vulnerable enough to connect to your music, to connect to your lyrics, to connect to the quality that you can bring to the music, to connect to your teacher in a way that leaves you open to hearing what they have to say. You have to connect to yourself. Most importantly, you have got to connect to your whole self. Not just this. Not just this. This is a piece of the whole person. And when you connect to your whole being, then you are going to share a gift that is so special that the technique really doesn't matter. So I encourage all of you, students, teachers, be brave, be vulnerable, show up, and just have fun discovering what is possible. And if you liked this, I'm going to be back next Monday with a new topic. Remember, Monday Moxie, right? Or is it Moxie Monday? I don't know. Moxie. Let's talk about that really fast before I go. So here's where I came up with Moxie. Moxie has 3 different definitions that I love. If you have some Moxie, I want you to put some #Moxie down below. Brave, Kara. Yes. Courage and determination. Yes. That is Moxie. So when you show up to your voice lessons this week, both as a teacher and as a student, bring a little Moxie. It's also a little energy and a little pep, which I don't know about you, but I could definitely use a little bit of that as I am spending so much time at my house. Could use a little pep, a little Moxie, and know-how. A little know-how, a little Moxie. It's all of those things. Brave, know-how, energy. So next week, put it down in the comments for me. Do you like Moxie Monday? Or do you like Monday Moxie? I don't know. I want to hear it from you. So be sure to put a little comment. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you will join me next Monday at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, and I will be here live bringing you something fresh and new. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear what you have. Thanks so much. Make it a Moxie week, okay? Bye.